All right, first you're going to open a new spreadsheet. Then you are going to name the spreadsheet with your last name. Mine's Prater. If there's multiple of you in the same class, or if there's more than one of you with the same last name, you should know that. And you're going to add your first initial. And then I want a dash followed by LD-50 2023. Next step, before you do anything else, go to share. I want you to add Ms. Prater to the list. So you're going to type in cprater@lvusd.org. Do not notify people, but add me as an editor and click share. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to start adding your data. Your first column is going to be concentration. And in parentheses, you're going to put percent NaCl. If you ever don't like the way a column's getting cut off or something, you can double click right here and it'll fit in. You're going to put seeds planted, seeds died, percent mortality, and average radical length. All right, for the concentrations, you're going to include all of the concentrations that our class used, not just the 5 that you used. Okay, I have added some data here. I added the concentration, the number of seeds planted. This is the total for the class. And then based on how many germinated, I figured out how many died and I put those numbers here. What percent mortality needs to be is it needs to be the percent of seeds that died. So there's an easy way to create a formula here. Anytime I want it to do a calculation, I start with equals. I want to do equals this number. So I click on that cell, divided by, which is the slash, this number, the 48. So I'm going to click on that cell. And then I hit enter. It's going to ask me if I want to autofill the whole column. And I do indeed want to autofill the whole column. Okay, this is currently ugly and not a percentage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight the column and then click on the percentage button. And now I have too many zeros. I don't really like it. So I can change the number of zeros by adding or decreasing decimal places. It doesn't really matter where you round here, but you want to have some sort of consistent number. Okay, I've also transcribed the average radical length over here. Some mistakes I made before when I did average radical length, I should have noted that it was in centimeters. And I'm going to double click here. Whoops, that is not what I meant to do. I'm going to double click here right on this border to make it fit. Now that I have my data added, I'm ready to make my 2 graphs. The first graph I want to make is going to involve concentration, which I'm going to go ahead and color so that I can reference it, and percent mortality. I want concentration on the x-axis and percent mortality on the y-axis. Okay, the way I graph 2 columns that are not next to each other, I'm going to click on this column, or I can highlight the cells, but make sure you highlight the header as well. I'm going to click there, and now I'm going to push the command button on this computer to highlight a column that's not adjacent to it. These are the 2 columns I want on my graph. So now I'm going to go insert, chart. The type of chart I want so insert chart. The type of chart I'm going to want is a line chart. Specifically, I'm going to ask it for a smooth line chart. Now, what I want on the x-axis is I want it to be a log scale. So to do that, I'm going to go to customize. Horizontal axis, that's my x-axis. And I'm going to go down here and click log scale. Now, at this point, something that'd be appropriate to do is to note to my reader that it's a log scale. So I'm going to double click here, so that I can rename this, and I'm going to put log dash concentration. I want you for your graph to rename it percent mortality versus concentration. That's fine. And then I want you to put your last name and your first initial into the title of the graph. This graph is going to get copied and pasted into your document, your lab report where you're turning it in. I'm going to open a new document to show you how I'm doing that. So I'm going to do, if you're in Chrome, Control Paste is perfectly easy. If you're not in Chrome, get in Chrome. So Control C and then Control V. It's going to ask me, do I want to link to the spreadsheet? I do want to link to the spreadsheet. Now, from your lab report, what that means is I'm going to be able to open your spreadsheet and check to see if there are any data entry errors that might explain this. So this would be in my final lab report that I'm turning in. And I want it as a linked chart. For me to be able to open your spreadsheet, that sharing it with me in the beginning was super important. Make sure it goes the correct place in your document. You need to make a second graph. I'm going to move this out of the way. The second graph is going to have concentration on the x-axis, and it's going to have average radical length on the y-axis. So I'm going to do something similar here. I'm going to highlight my two columns. I'm going to go insert chart, average radical length versus concentration. I want a smooth line chart. Once again, I want to customize the horizontal axis. I want that to be a log scale. I'm going to note that this is the log of the concentration. I'm going to change my title to have my name in it. Now, this is also ready to copy and paste into the second document. Once again, link to spreadsheet. Make sure these goes the appropriate place in the lab report you're turning in, not just into a blank document like I did.